Back with you here at South Boston Speedway, live on Flow Racing for the Autos by Nelson 250, presented by Virginia is for Racing Lovers for round number 14. Eric, can you believe it's already round 14 of 16 on this season? It has flown by so quickly. Blake McCandless, Eric Brennan, Jacqueline Drake helping us out down on pit road. But Eric, it has been a quick, I was looking at the calendar the other day. I can't believe it's already October. I mean, this racing season has just flown by.
It's hard to believe because we entered this year with a new regime with the Cars Tour, if you will. And the new ownership group that came in, there was a lot of anticipation heading into Southern National Motorsports Park, the season opener. And to be quite honest, that level of energy and effort and interest has just not only maintained, it's actually continued to grow. Mid-season, we brought on Kip Childress to play a leadership role with the Cars Tour. And we continue to see drivers pivot their racing career to this style of car, this style of venture. We've seen veterans come on over with the likes of Kyle Larson. And tonight, Kenny Wallace is in the field. So it is absolutely incredible and remarkable to see just how much this series continues to be on an upward trajectory, even though, as you said, we only have a handful of races left to go. 3 counting tonight at South Boston Speedway, part of the Autos by Nelson 250, presented by Virginia is for Racing Lovers here at South Boston.
Certainly so, and I think, Eric, one thing, especially you can get a good look at the shot here at South Boston Speedway. Fans a little wrapped up here as they head to the refreshment area, I imagine, to get themselves one of the world-famous bologna burgers here at South Boston Speedway. It's a little windy today. Saw the flags blowing in the breeze there for just a moment. It's a little bit of a chilly night and a little bit different in terms of the weather. But while we wait for these late model stock cars that you can see sitting on the grid right now to get rolling, we're going to toss it down to Jacqueline Drake once again down in the pit area. Hello, Jacqueline.
Hey guys, I'm down here in the grandstands with the kids of South Boston. How's it going, everybody? Good! We're going to talk to a few of them right here. Hi, what's your name?
Harper.
Harper, what about you?
Preston.
How old are you, Harper?
8.
Do you have a favorite driver?
Yes.
Who is it?
Butterbean.
Butterbean. Do we have some Butterbean fans up here? Yeah, we do. All right, let's see. What do we got back here? What's your name?
Shay.
I was afraid you weren't going to answer that. Thank you. You are so brave. What about you? What's your name?
Chloe.
Chloe, do you have a favorite driver? Who is it?
Butterbean.
Butterbean, another fan in here. What about you?
Brindley.
What's your favorite driver?
Butterbean.
Butterbean. What about you?
My name's Michaela.
Who do you like?
Minnie.
Minnie Tyrell, number 81. All right. Oh, you kind of come down here. There we go. What's your name?
Amber.
And who's your favorite driver?
Lane Riggs.
Lane Riggs. We have Lane Riggs fans up in here. All right, guys, we are getting the late model stocks up on to the front stretch. In just a few moments, the kids of South Boston are going to be giving us the infamous commands.
That is going to be fun to see those young fans give us the most famous words in motorsports. And you know what I love, Eric, is, these fans of all ages come out, and they have a driver that they're rooting for. We had the Fan Fest a little bit earlier on today. I'm sure many of them got to walk up and say hello, shake the hand of their favorite driver, and be able to talk with them. But, man, I also got to say, Butterbean's pretty popular in this area, which, by the way, I'm gonna spill the beans here on something that at least Flow Racing has been working on. No pun intended by saying spill the beans, by the way. But as far as content is concerned, coming out of here at South Boston, there is a piece of content that I don't know if Flow is going to post it yet or it's been edited and put all together. Rob Blount does an incredible job with all that. But if you want to see something, there is something in the works with Butterbean interviewing Kenny Wallace.
Yeah,
and we saw about 30 seconds of it, and it is everything you could imagine and more.
I got to say, longtime motorsports journalist Bones Bashore said, hook them while they're young. And that's what we're going to do here tonight. Let's not wait anymore. The kids are ready. We're ready. Let's go down to Jacqueline Drake to get them fired up.
2, 3.
Well, give us some warning next time. I think we're gonna peak the audio level on the microphone.
That was awesome. and a moment that each one of those youngsters will never forget here at South Boston Speedway.
Absolutely. And again, thanks to Barry Nelson, who put that together. Autos by Nelson, of course, such a big part of this race. We saw many of the trucks that the drivers ended up kind of riding around pre-race on the front straightaway. They were parked behind the stands here that fans could go down and get a good look at. But, yes, you can see many of those fans running up to their seats. And, again, a very cool memory indeed that I'm sure that they will have. But from the fans, we will move to the drivers because, again, those are the stars, and those are the people that have put on such an amazing show throughout this season. I mean, we can take a look at the point standings, at least for now, as they run. Carson Guapo, for now, again, 33 points would be a race win, so you can see the advantage that he has on Brendan Queen. Likely, as long as that 8 car just goes out, executes, doesn't have any issues, it perhaps could be a second consecutive Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour Championship for Carson Guapo this year. Brendan Queen in steady control of that second position, but also Mason Diaz, somebody, especially this second half of the year, that has just really hit on something with his Chad Bryant Racing team. And I think, again, if we had some type of reset or something, that he would certainly be in the conversation. And I think moving forward to next year, if that pair sticks together, watch out. They're going to be able to challenge for this thing in 2024. But nevertheless, again, these drivers have once again provided a great show for us. It's going to be interesting to see who can go out on top, as we will toss it down once again to Jacqueline Drake, who I don't think this time is surrounded by a bunch of young Grace fans.
No kids down here on pit row, but I want to talk a little bit about that front row. We have Lane Riggs, your pole sitter. He has 10 wins right here at South Boston. He comes with a resume packed with success. Right here, he said, I've never felt more confident than tonight in that number 62, and he has won once before under the KHI banner. Right beside him, the number 08 of Deke McCaskill. He has the most starts in the series history, and he's in the top 5 for most wins. He feels extremely confident as well, and hopes to be able to close it out tonight with a win for that 08.
Thank you very much, Jacqueline. And again, it's been good to see Deke. I mean, a lot of the RNS race cars were very strong in qualifying today. And, think back at least this season, Bobby McCarty run really strong in many of the weekly series races, or the Harley-Davidson 200 that they ran here back in July. Certainly going to be a part of things as well. Chad McCumbee, you can make a great case for him and why he could end up in Cars Tour victory lane for the first time this season. How about Cade Brown? Every time that driver of the number 23 car has been out here, he has been superb. Of course, it's been at very familiar racetracks. He was track champion at Hickory this year. He's run there twice this season. Also ran at Tri-County, put up a good effort there before being wrapped up in some late race incidents. But Cade Brown, certainly somebody I think we could be talking about at the end of the night.
And as for one of the notable entries in tonight's race, Kenny Wallace. We heard him give the command to start the Pro Late Model event. He's going to roll off in 24th position. But a tip of the cap goes out to several people who made this possible. First, of course, RNS Race Cars, Marcus Richmond and his group for helping prepare the entry that Kenny is going to wheel tonight. But also to Filter Time and Blake Cook and that operation, which I will admit, full disclosure, I am a customer. They put together a promo for any first-time Filter Time customer. Use the promo code Kenny at filtertime.com and you'll have an opportunity to save on your subscription for air filter services for your home or business. So you can check that out. And thanks to them for making it possible, because having Kenny at the racetrack has certainly been a very uplifting moment for all involved. And I'm very interested to see how he does tonight. Remember, this is someone who still wins races time and time again on the dirt level. For someone who started off in ASA competition, this is pretty much similar fashion, if you will. It's going to be fun to see what he can do here tonight.
A very accomplished race car driver, but again, I love seeing the quantity of drivers we've had come and run in the Cars Tour that aren't necessarily weekly competitors. The Cup Series stars that we saw in North Wilkesboro Speedway, like a Ross Chastain or a Brad Keselowski, come in, and they ran well. They were competitive, but again, I think it just goes to show how good this series is, how talented these drivers are, that it is not a walk in the park. It is very difficult for these drivers who don't run these late model stocks on a regular basis to be able to come in and be competitive. Honestly, out of that group, Chase Briscoe has been really impressive. He ran great at North Wilkesboro, nearly won the Marty Ward Memorial that we had at Florence Motor Speedway a couple weeks ago, so he's been awfully impressive. But great to see these drivers up for the challenge that is the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour late model stocks. As the lights are off on the GXS Wraps pace car, we are just about set to get going here. The fair is in the background, but the show is on the racetrack. Lane Riggs, Deke McCaskill will lead us into the KRC Power Steering start zone. 125 laps on the docket here at South Boston, and the late model stocks are underway. At the stripe by a nose, it's going to be Deke McCaskill who takes the race lead and will look to almost be clear of Lane Riggs off of turn number 2. Not quite able to do it that time as Riggs drives it in hard on the bottom. And again, Riggs won the national championship, the NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Racing Series in 2022. He accomplished that by winning the track championship here at South Boston, but he settles for second for now. As you can see, we're jockeying for position behind them.
Chad McCumbee in the 16 car running in third position. Last year, his race ended in a ball of flame at the end of the front straightaway. Something came undone under the hood. He washed up the racetrack in turn 1, and it put him out of contention. Chase Burrow in the 8 inside of Cade Brown in the 23 in a battle for position just outside the top 5, while Riggs is all over McCaskill for the lead.
Chad McCumbee also in that fight as well, as Burrow and Brown may have made a little bit of contact as they worked off of turn 4. But once again, Lane Riggs down on the bottom. You can see the wide variety there already on where these cars are going to run. You can see Bobby McCarty, nearly all 4 Hoosier tires beneath that yellow line, trying to make a move right now on Chad McCumbee.
That's McCarty inside of McCumbee there for third spot as Riggs slides up the racetrack, and McCarty is through for that podium position and may not be done yet. McCumbee with a late slice down to the bottom to try to get a good drive off of 2 and alongside McCarty, but to no avail. McCaskill runs up the road. Riggs on the inside. McCarty looking low for second spot. What great racing we have here early at the front.
So many drivers, so many teams that have been really strong over the years at South Boston. Of course, Lane Riggs being one of them. Bobby McCarty, somebody as well. And I talked to Lane Riggs a little bit earlier today, and he said that we're dialed in. This has been the best car that I've driven at South Boston Speedway. So I don't think it'll be any shock to see him running up front. And again, every time we see Deke McCaskill out here in the pit area smiling, having a great time, but is one fierce competitor as well. And when he qualifies well, watch out, because he's going to be a factor at the end of this deal for sure.
Absolutely, as we see the top 3 continue to tighten up their battle for position. McCarty using that apron of the racetrack to help that car corner. And there is what you could perhaps call one of the most popular drivers on the racetrack right now, Butterbean, trying to make some noise. And now it's Ryan Millington and Jacob Bohr side by side. And here comes McCarty for second.
McCarty able to go where no other man can, at least for the moment, down there on the bottom of the racetrack. And got to say, McCarty was so strong at Martinsville a couple of weeks ago. Sat on the pole, won, dominated his heat. Unfortunately, engine let go for Bobby McCarty. Unfortunate for them there because of how good that Arnes race car was, as he's easily able to clear Lane Riggs for second, has his sights set on another Ford Mustang right up the road, and Deke McCaskill, meanwhile, on the right-hand side of your screen, you can see many drivers battling further back in the field for the 11th and 12th positions, respectively, side by side right now between Hefner and Pimbleton. That will go for 14th right now.
Perhaps no surprise that the top 3 in this race have either won a race or a pole here at South Boston in the 5-year history of this racetrack. Also, the winner of this race has never started outside of the top 5. Only once has this race been won from the pole, as we see McCaskill trying to add on to the statistic of top 5 starters being able to win this race. But here comes McCarty for the lead.
how strong he has looked early on in this race. McCaskill, meanwhile, has kind of run higher, a little bit what we saw, kind of that line that Caden Quapple made work for him in the Pro Late Model race, running a little bit higher. And you can see right on the edge, it's a great shot in turn one where you can see the light glistening off the racetrack. You really get a good look at kind of where the rubber is laid down, and that McCaskill can kind of go up to right at the edge of that rubber. You can see it right here as they enter turn one. Great shot right there. McCaskill basically right on the edge of how high you can try and run this race car, but that is not deterring Bobby McCarty at all as the three-time champion looking for a piece of the race lead.
And Blake, I have to wonder if running that high line and not being as aggressive to pin the car down to the inside, is that better for the duration of the tires on the 08 car, or is McCarty, oh, crash, big trouble, Stacy Puryear, and Minnie Tyrell with a hard wreck on the front stretch. And Puryear took a big shot in the door as he spun right in front of Minnie Tyrell, right at the flag stand.
And that is a South Boston incident. When it does happen on the front stretch, hardly anywhere to go, and it happens quickly. Luckily, I believe it is just those two cars involved. And Minnie Tyrell and Stacy Puryear saw heavy damage on Minnie Tyrell in the left front nose. Yep, there you see Minnie Tyrell's race car. Stacy Puryear has yet to move from where he was parked in turn one. And can imagine that this was something, again, we didn't see it initially, but I think this has the lookings of something off of turn four, a little bit of a disagreement over real estate. And the way that Stacy spun, I mean, he kind of turned across the nose of Minnie Tyrell to where he spun towards the outside wall.
I got to say that judging by how badly damaged Minnie's car is, the 17 didn't look all that bad.
No, he didn't.
Let's take a look at what happened here. Connor Jones on the 44, Stacy Puryear to the inside. Little bit of contact there. Gets Jones up the racetrack. And Jones tries to hold Puryear down as he came off the corner, and that bit of contact is what put him in the wall.
Yeah, so Minnie Tyrell just absolutely nowhere to go. An innocent bystander there. And I think for Jones, again, was battling side by side, and I think if you're Puryear right there, that's just a classic case of you. I think you're anticipating that outside car going just a little bit higher. You can see there that Jones and Puryear definitely had a little bit of contact as Jones tries to shut the door entering three. And off of turn four, Puryear, yeah, I think you could see probably a little upset. Going to drive up there a little bit. Jones, boy, he about lost it too. And then, yeah, Minnie Tyrell just absolutely nowhere to go. So I know we saw it a little bit earlier in the race with Hettinger getting in the back of McDonald in the Pro Late race and lost the hood. And I feel like that's just a case right there of probably somebody who wanted to kind of show his displeasure immediately, but it obviously goes awry for both him. And nobody got a worse end of it than Minnie Tyrell, who's already, you can see, taking the helmet off, the Hans device off. He's climbing out of that race car.
Tyrell trying to race his way up into the top 10 in championship points. Came into the night 12th, not that far down behind Brandon Pierce, who holds the 10th and final spot in the top 10 of the standings. But his night is going to come to a premature end here. All the while, Stacy Puryear, who is making his first start since 2020, ended up being swept up in that accident. And we'll see if he will be able to continue on as well after being able to drive away from the scene. Let's hear from Minnie Tyrell, who's standing by with Jacqueline Drake.
Minnie obviously got caught in that wreck there. Walk me through what happened between you and Stacy.
I don't know. I mean, I raced with the guy at Dominion earlier this year, and super slow in front of me, and I moved him one time, and then he goes under caution and tries to tear my nose off. So clearly he wasn't happy about that and decides to use me up. I mean, we're only on like lap 10, and then him and a kid that wrecked about everybody in Tri-County is going after it, and then just hooks him into the wall. I mean, it's really sad that you got such a professional racing series and you're out there racing against children, and the guy's, 65 years old. But I don't know. I mean, he doesn't belong in a race car, neither does the kid in the 44 car. So it's unfortunate, but, we'll be professionals and we'll take our car and move on to Tri-County.
Strong words there from Minnie Tyrell, obviously upset about all that transpired in front of him. Meanwhile, through the KRC Power Steering restart zone, the McCaskill will get us rolling from the top spot. Bobby McCarty, However, on the bottom side, giving him a good bout is the field. You can see 2 by 2 by 2, several rows deep. And at the stripe this time, give it to McCaskill by just a fraction of a nose.
Just as that wreck was happening, the point we were making as far as tire conservation is McCarty hooking the apron. Maybe just about equal wear and tear on the Hoosier rubber that these drivers are going to try to maintain throughout this race as McCaskill gets the edge on the outside. Here comes Lane Riggs, top side of the 16 of Chad McCumbee for third.
Chad McCumbee, I think, is just a driver and a team that has just been in position enough that one of these races, that car is going to come to him, something's going to come to life, and he's going to be in position to win one of these deals, and is coming off what is probably his best run of the season, a New River All-American Speedway, led 31 laps, his first laps led of the season back just, 3-4 weeks ago or so for Chad McCumbee. See if he can get the job done here. Battle for the lead commencing between your top two, McCarty and McCaskill. Battle here for third. Good battle for fifth right behind him. Again, Brendan Queen, we've talked about that there haven't been that many drivers who have marched through the field very quickly. Queen's been able to accomplish that. He's already up to fifth.
And so far ahead of Carson Quapple in the championship points battle. He desperately needs to make up ground in order to have a shot in the final two races of the season, as McCaskill continues to be committed to the outside. Bobby McCarty diligently working down low. Into turn number 3 they go. 25 laps to be complete, 100 to go, and McCaskill is holding steady. They're picking up that win at the season opener at Southern National Motorsports Park. The part-time venture from McCaskill has been paying dividends as he gets tagged by McCarty off two.
Well, again, I think these two are going to race each other very respectively. Great relationship here between Deke McCaskill, Bobby McCarty, and obviously Marcus Richmond and RNS race cars. So imagine any contact like that, they're going to race hard. They're going to be competitors. They're almost going to touch again. But you'd have to imagine that there's definitely going to be a certain degree of respect between these two as they try to take the race lead from one another. Just over 25 laps into this one, side by side for the race lead. But just further on back of the road, I got to mention again, Brendan Butterbean Queen started 12th, already up to 5th, and just about, you can see him just at the edge of your frame, about to challenge Chad McCumbee and perhaps even Lane Riggs for that 3rd and 4th spot. So Brendan Queen, he looks awfully fast tonight, and what a great moment it would be anytime Lee Polium could go to victory lane here at South Boston. Going to do it as an owner perhaps tonight if he can do so with Brendan or Brandon Pierce.
Watching both battles take place, you can tell how the preferred groove on the top side of the racetrack is about a half a car length or so off the preferred groove on the bottom. And when they accordion back together off turn 2 and turn 4, you could be mere inches away from disaster, as we saw with Stacy Puryear to bring out the first caution. McCarty and McCaskill racing respectfully for the lead. And Blake Brendan Butterbean Queen's charge is up to 4th, and he is setting his sights on Lane Riggs for 3rd.
That he is. Again, last time by, fastest car on the racetrack was that of old Butterbean. And that's despite the fact that he's had to make his way through a little bit of traffic. And you can see how easy he was able to make that move work on the bottom. Riggs right now going to the top, going to make that a little more difficult. You know, to go down to the bottom of the pass, but it is really difficult to do so. We've seen McCarty try to do and accomplish that feat on Deke McCaskill in the 08, but hasn't been able to do so yet. Now you can see Queen all the way down on the bottom, using that apron to try and rotate that car just a little bit. But boy, is that 03 BestRepairs.net Toyota flying through the field right now.
Most recent winner in Cars Tour competition at New River All-American Speedway is that of Butterbean, and what was a thrilling battle between he and Ronnie Bassett Jr. coming to the line. He's looking for win number 3 on the night. He is tied for poles with that. Oh, trouble, Blake Stallings in turn 2. And Joshua Dickens, in his return to competition, also has substantial damage to the left rear.
Yeah, that tire's down. And Blake Stallings, we were coming into this race talking about so many of the South Boston local competitors who compete here on a weekly basis, have been competitive in winning races throughout the weekly racing series going on here. We have several in the field. Blake Stallings, Jacob Borst, of course, your track champion, defending track champion this season, and Carter Langley, who had a great battle down to the last race with Peyton Sellers for the track title, stalling somebody that competes here in South Boston on the regular as well as at Ace Speedway. Some issues befalling him, as you can see, as he passed by the stopped car of Josh Dickens. Does not have a left rear tire that is up, and I believe it's trying to wave off Crane. We'll see what they do here. Window net's still up, so I think he's still wanting to see if he can drive it back to the pits.
Dickens out of Miami, Florida, driving for Van Dyke Racing tonight. Have not seen this driver since North Wilkesboro. This is his 4th start of the season. Unfortunately, did not qualify at both Hickory and Ace. Had a mechanical issue that took him out of Wilkesboro after making the field by virtue of being an annual entry. You see some of the pro late model competitors pushing their cars back towards the pit area. Dickens, 2022 Young Lions Dirt National winner and also multi-time winner at Summer Shootout Legend Car Competition at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Jumped up to the late model stock cars. And the foray to this style of racing on this type of tour has not been off to the best of starts. But as we saw with Nick Loden in the pro late models, nothing is out of the question as far as being able to hit your stride when it matters most. For Dickens, the first objective is going to be to get that left rear tire replaced.
And again, going to have to drive all the way around. Can't enter the pits from the exit of turn 4. Because they're going to drive all the way back around the pit area and get that car tended to here with 91 laps to go. So already a contentious race here at South Boston. If you're just joining us, had an incident a little bit earlier that looked to put Minnie Tyrell, or indeed he is out of this race after contact between Stacy Purrier and Connor Jones. And unfortunate there for Minnie was following up on a great story that he had going on. There was a good friend of his race team and somebody that he met here at South Boston for the first time, his friend Robert, who is in the hospital right now and unable to be here at the racetrack tonight, but was sure to send him a care package, give him a call, talk to him, make sure that he's doing well. So Robert, you're still tuned in. Unfortunately, wish that the 81 car was still out there, but I hope you're doing well and wish you the best in your recovery. And again, a great gesture, as Minnie Tyrell has often done throughout the year in his efforts to try and really connect with race fans. He's done a tremendous job. And you can see the 44 of Connor Jones has brought his car down as well to get some service.
The philanthropic abilities of Minnie Tyrell. I know we saw a rare side of the frustrations that the sport will breed, but I don't think anybody could ever deny the fact that Minnie Tyrell and his organization, especially looking back at everything, as you said, Blake, that they've done this year for so many people, it means a ton to so many families who are going through so much. But he's a competitor at the end of the day, and that was the most fired up I think anybody has ever seen Minnie, especially knowing what they're racing for in the final few races of the season. And while we're keeping some of the sentimental stories going, I want to give a special shout out to that of Cameron Boland, who was in the field. He came down the pit lane for adjustments per Jacqueline Drake. However, this is a very special week for he and that family. If you follow the Cars Tour on a weekly basis, we spotlighted the fact that Cameron's grandfather had to go in for a medical procedure a couple of races back, which in reality was a couple of months ago. Happy to report that his grandfather is back out here at the racetrack for the first time since that surgery. He is doing well. They reverted the wrap on the car back to normal. The last time that he ran it, he scored his best career finish at Caraway, so they're hoping to get some good luck. But obviously, they took advantage of this caution to make some adjustments. And also, Cameron says he's used the brake to get in the best physical shape of the year so far as well. So Boland is ready to roll for the final 3 races, of course, with help from Josh Williams in that organization, NASCAR Xfinity Series driver.
And well on his way to winning the NPM Marketing Rookie of the Year award at the end of the season. He and Dylan Wilson in a battle for that Rookie of the Year. And as Dylan Wilson would say, perhaps a 30-year-old rookie still has something to say about the end of this one. As we have doubled up, you can see the results of the choose, and has been the case. It will be your race leader in Deacon McCaskill, who elects to go to the top side of the racetrack. I believe we saw Chase Burrow was just a little bit slow right there, but looks like he's doing all he can to try and get his tires warmed up. Bobby McCarty down at the bottom of road number 1. Road number 2, you'll see the 03 of Brendan Butter being Queen, and Lane Riggs, 62 on the outside. Back in row 3, Chase Burrow and Chad McCumbee side by side as Deke McCaskill in the 08 will lead us back into the KRC Power Steering restart zone. 91 laps left in the autos by Nelson. 250 presented by Virginia is for racing lovers. And we are back underway here at South Boston, Virginia. Much of the field electing to go to the bottom side early. McCarty stuck there on the bottom. Will Lane Riggs try to take advantage? It looks like he will. Almost to the outside of McCarty, who tries to clear up, but Lane Riggs is there. He'll challenge for second as Butterbean is clear for fourth.
Now Riggs trying to get that top lane to roll so he can get up to and pass McCarty for second spot. As McCaskill continues to comfortably make that high line work for him off these restarts. Butterbean there in fourth in the 03. Chad McCumbee, your top 5, as McCarty is not quite clear of Riggs, who pulls up alongside for second.
Again, we saw this work for Nick Loden earlier on in the Pro Late Model race, being able to work that bottom and having something left at the end. We'll see if that's the same case here for McCarty. Riggs almost into the outside wall, just mere inches off of the outside retaining wall off of turn number 4. Yet he still hangs on the left rear quarter panel, right rear quarter panel rather, of Bobby McCarty. Again, you can see how this track just really narrows up off the corner. Riggs using every bit of it.
The amount of respect that has to be shown by the car on the inside like McCarty, knowing the run is coming up on the top side like what Riggs had there out of 2, to not fade up in front of the nose of that car. And it has been on full display each and every lap because McCarty's been committed to the bottom and Riggs is now trying to draw even while McCarty inches closer to McCaskill for the lead.
I would say Riggs looks a little bit better in that 62 car, but the problem is that McCaskill is backing up to these two. So Riggs is going to have to try and find a way around that 08 or kind of be boxed in a little bit. You can't really go much higher than where he's running right now. And with McCarty running kind of right along the apron, there's not really room to make it 3 wide right now. So McCarty, if he just holds serve right now, probably will come out of this okay. If Riggs can't clear him off at 4, though, he's able to do that.
Right side of your screen, you saw Kenny Wallace battling with Connor Jones while up towards the front of the pack. Curious as to how much of what the 08 of McCaskill, the leader, is doing is him trying to set the pace as the leader or him just trying to try his hardest to protect the race lead. Now Riggs gets clear of McCarty, who falls back in line as the 3rd car. While on the right-hand side of your screen, you see Josh Dickens has gotten his car repaired. He is back out on the racetrack trying to work his way further forward as Butterbean has entered the picture.
And out of nowhere, Wright had run the bottom for the last couple of laps and all of a sudden has surged to the top side. You can see kind of trying to move through the center of the corner. Oh, he got really high, though, off of 4. He had to check up out of it. Nearly brushed the outside wall, but a piece of heads-up drive in there to get out of the throttle, and yet he still only fell back about a car length or so. So I think that tells you how he and crew chief Doug Powers have had this car tuned up for tonight. Nearly kind of gets up into the marbles a little bit past that point of no return, and yet, a lap later, he's right back on the back bumper, practically, of Bobby McCarty.
Well, this fight continues on all the while. Where is your championship points leader? Well, Carson Quapple is running in the 8th spot right now. Don't worry, though, because our defending race winner, who is that of Quapple, was outside of the top 5 when we came to 50 laps to go in this race 1 year ago. As you see Trevor Ward, the Martinsville winner, working over Chase Burrow on the right side of your screen, and McCarty back inside of Riggs for second.
And Trevor Ward, especially after winning that Martinsville race, I know we saw it from Nick Loden earlier that sometimes you get in victory lane, you almost can't believe what happened. He's had a little bit of time to settle in. I can't imagine what it would be like having that grandfather clock remind you every hour of what you were able to accomplish, and what a tremendous race that both he and his father, Dean Ward, who prepares that race car, all the work that they do to show that these little guys, they can go up against these big teams and these very competitive drivers and give it the best. And not only that, took home the Virginia Late Model Stock Triple Crown in the going, and beat Brendan Queen, who, got to say, one of the best late model stock car drivers in the country right now is that 03 team. And to be able to go up against the likes of that and so many others that compete in that Triple Crown and come out on top says a lot about him. As McCarty up the racetrack, almost into the door of Riggs, and now Queen trying to get in on the action as well.
And how about Chad McCumbee? He says, hey, while you guys battle, I'm going to come up there and join you. This is 4 cars under a blanket, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, respectively. As Riggs remains committed to the top, McCarty in the 6th committed to the bottom. Now Butterbean tries to set up high to follow in the tire tracks of Lane Riggs. That car has been motoring up towards the front of the field.
And hearing from the Lane Riggs radio, courtesy of Jacqueline Drake, that they are preaching to him, keep Bobby McCarty down there. We want to keep him on the bottom side for now. And he has been doing that, or at least forcing McCarty. If he is going to go around him, he's going to have to do it on the low side. But right now, golly, Queen, you can just see how strong that 0-3 car is. As McCarty up the racetrack nearly into Riggs. Again, amazing that, especially that 62 car has a white base on the wrap, and yet I'm surprised with how closely he and McCarty have been racing. There's not as much of a scratch on the side of that 62 yet.
Keyword is yet. There is so much respect being shown amongst these competitors at this point in the race with now under 70 laps to go. McCaskill has led since the drop of the green. After taking the lead away on the outside of the first lap, Butterbean now trying to have to harness his ability to get that outside lane rolling to assure he doesn't lift the back tires off the ground on the 62 in front of him.
And again, that's something that as lap by lap goes by, and if you're McCarty and you're thinking, man, I'd love to get up to that middle, it seems to be the preferred lane right now. It can be frustrating. It's almost like being kicked off the bottom groove at Martinsville and the train is just coming on by. It's the opposite here when you're on the bottom, and every little lap you go by, you get a little more frustrated. Maybe you exit a little bit higher than you did the previous lap, just trying to change something about the situation you're in. Still holding on. I mean, again, not all is lost. He's running up here in the 4th position, but I'm sure for him, he's wondering, man, if I could just get to that lane right now, could my car work a little bit better there? As Queen, again, looking to try and run just a little bit higher than what Lane Riggs is running, as we have just about 15 laps to that competition caution.
3 drivers in this race are trying to become the first ever repeat winner here at South Boston Speedway. One of them is leading, Deke McCaskill. The other is Bobby McCarty, desperately trying to hold on to second as he gets back alongside of Riggs here in 3 and 4. And Carson Quapple pretty much sizing up this race in the same manner that he did 1 year ago, running just outside the top 5.
Again, there's so much racing going on all over this racetrack. Side-by-side battles aplenty and largely kind of locked into place like this. It's been a track that is widened out. And again, these cars, we talk about it all the time. I mean, just look at qualifying. We had 2 teammates that tied in qualifying between Brandon Pierce and Brendan Queen. It's difficult, and these cars are so even in terms of the quality of the teams, the quality of the drivers. Right now, I think you can see that as we can look back on Cade Brown. Talked about him a little bit earlier in some of the starts that he's had at Hickory. First time that he's up here in South Boston in Cars Tour competition. Somebody that's run at Hickory and Tri-County a lot, but almost contact with Trevor Ward down into turn 1.
Almost contact off the corner, then made contact going into the corner, did that of Brown and Ward. And again, he gives a tag to the left rear quarter panel of Trevor Ward's car, but still can't draw even with that entry in what is a battle for 8. Trevor Ward in the 77, Brown 23 off of turn 2. Now Brown's got a fender inside.
You can see Ward not quite running as high as what we've seen a lot of these front runners doing, and trying to really kind of force that car down on the apron and perhaps run where they may not be comfortable doing it. And again, we saw the battle that he and Landon Huffman put on at the end of the Valley Star Credit Union 300. Leaned on each other a little bit, but hard and clean racing. Trevor Ward, somebody that's definitely somebody that's going to uphold that standard.
Notice in comparison, the brake rotor on the 77 is glowing a lot more than that of Cade Brown. That may come back to bite him as the race continues on. A battle of the 8s, left side of your picture. Carson Quapple in the Bass Pro Shops 8, trying to get around the Top Gun Motorsports number 8 of Chase Burrow.
And Burrow, what a great run that he's having. Won the pole a little bit earlier this year at Caraway, where we would go for the season finale. But certainly hanging around towards the top 5. his best run so far in the Carts Tour season for the Touring 12 driver. And I think going down to the bottom right there, that's exactly what Quapple wanted. And it looks like he's going to be able to take advantage of it.
Competition caution starting to lurk, if you will, and judging by the amount of laps that are left to go in this race, it will be the one and only that we see tonight, as we will not have one of the final 25 laps. It comes after 40 consecutive green flag laps as Quapple cements the pass.
He's able to do it. We saw a little bit earlier on Cade Brown and Trevor Ward battling. The 23 of Brown's able to get the better of that battle. As you can see right there, trying to work around some of the slower traffic. That is Ronald Hill, a longtime veteran of the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour, ran full-time many years ago in this series, and is back with us here after a long hiatus away from the series. So good to see Ronald Hill back out here on the racetrack for sure.
The thrill, Ronald Hill back in competition while another veteran continues to lead the field. Riggs now trying to work the bottom lane to catch up to McCaskill, while McCarty's a distant third, perhaps as distant as we've seen all night long.
And he really made up a couple of car lengths the last lap or so. And again, this would be right around where that competition caution is going to come, so perhaps trying to at least get the lead before the yellow flag flew, but not able to do it as the Volt battery caution will come out once again. Deke McCaskill being able to hold off Lane Riggs. And again, for McCaskill, got the lead early and has dominated this race up to this point.
Brandon Willard displaying that Volt battery caution, as we said, 40 consecutive green flag laps. However, it will not come in the final 25. So this will be the one and only comp yellow we will see, but we will see an entirely different race when we come back on the other side of this break. 51 laps to go for the late model stocks in South Boston.
This focus, this silence, this roar, the Travelers Championship. Now is the time. This is the place. Visit TravelersChampionship.com.
Back with you here at South Boston Speedway for the Autos by Nelson 250, presented by Virginia is for Racing Lovers. We are so glad to be with you here on Flow Racing, as well as the third race of the Keen Corvette Parts.net Challenge. The first part of that taking place a little bit earlier tonight, Eric, and you know, one of the great things about this challenge, $10,000 up for grabs for the winner, but it is late model stock and pro late model drivers that are competing against each other. And if you're just joining us, it is Carson and Caden Quapple that are tied for the lead in this challenge. And at least as the running would go now, of course, Carson has a little bit of time. I think Caden would have the slight edge compared to where Carson's running right now.
Yeah, by virtue of that podium finish by Caden, which was a great points night for him on the pro late model side, but up against his brother, he came home third. Right now, Carson runs sixth, so the points would swing in Caden's favor, with the last race of that series scheduled for November 4th at Caraway Speedway. So a lot more to keep tabs on than just the championship fights, the races themselves. And thanks to our huge, tremendous partner, longtime partner with the Cars Tour at KeenCorvetteParts.net, Tom Keen here tonight, and he wants to see how this $17,500 prize pool is going to shake out when we wrap this up come Caraway. And tonight's going to play a huge role in how that all happens.
with this latest caution. I believe Blake Stallings was able to stay on the lead lap, never fell behind because of the wreck he was involved in, so Ronald Hill will get the free pass. If you're just joining us, 3 cars right now are out of the race. Carter Langley fell out with a mechanical problem a little bit earlier on tonight, and stinks to see for Carter Langley, who was with us for so many races last year, and of course was a track champion here at South Boston Speedway. Had a great ovation of fans greet him during driver introductions tonight, but unfortunately is scored right now 50 laps behind your race leader. Stacy Purrier and Minnie Tyrell both pulled off the racetrack. There was some hope that Stacy could get back out on the racetrack, but unable to do so. He will finish 28th, and Minnie Tyrell will finish 29th, respectively. So once Hill gets the free pass, it'll be 26 cars that are on the lead lap. And at least looking through the running order, Eric, I think one thing that sticks out, perhaps based off of where he's been running recently, is Mason Diaz. I think right now in the 13th spot, has been running much better, especially this second half of the year, and has been making some progress forward, but definitely a night that at least the second half of the season he's not so much accustomed to.
And we mentioned in the early portion of the season, qualifying was he and that team struggling. He said that in victory lane at Hickory. He's like, if I didn't underperform in qualifying, maybe we wouldn't be in the position where it took this long to win a race. Unfortunately for Mason, they qualified 22nd tonight, so they put themselves behind the 8 ball here. He's starting to float up towards the front. The question is, how much more can he get with 51 laps to go on the restart? And lastly, before we count out Carson Kvapil, I went back and watched some of the highlights from this race last year. And when we got to this point, with 50 to go, Carson Kvapil, who was the eventual winner, took the lead with just over 10 laps to go. He was outside of the top 5 with 50 laps to go, and then started making some noise. It appears as though tonight could be written in the same fashion. Second verse could be the same as the first, so we'll see.
I think he'll be helped by the fact he's on the outside line. We'll see how well Bobby McCarty can handle it, as well as he will be the second car on that outside line. As we approach the KRC Power Steering restart zone once again, it'll be Deke McCaskill in the 08, who has led almost all of the goings tonight. And Lane Riggs looking to get back to the top spot for the first time after sitting on the pole. Will get us back going as cars dipping beneath the apron behind Brendan Queen, Chad McCumbee, Chase Burrow, a little bit of contact. McCumbee up the hill. Cade Brown collects it up, and everybody scurries away okay. That could have been a lot worse.
Remarkable that somehow they all got it funneled back together on the front straightaway as Riggs has to concede the battle for the lead right now at the end of the backstretch in 3. McCarty back to the bottom where he's been so strong all night long. And knock, knock, who's there? Carson Kvapil, the 4th.
Able to clear Brendan Queen for 5th. Lane Riggs able to settle down in 2nd after taking the inside line on the restart. McCarty in 3rd. Top 5 have sorted it out. Could say the same for 6th. Now 7th on back, but plenty of side-by-side battles going on. You can see Millington and Trevor Ward, left-hand side of your screen, just up the way. I guess I should say. Oh! A big save right there and a big moment for Chase Burrow off the nose of Chad McCumbee. And now almost making it 3 wide, and indeed 3 wide. Huffman, Brown, and Borst further back in the field.
You can tell it's just about go time, especially for some of the drivers and names we haven't talked a lot about here tonight, like that of Landon Huffman, who's in the mix, trying to find a way around a couple of the young guns that are in the field. Huffman again with a big run on the bottom side. Inside of Cade Brown, little bit of contact perhaps as they enter turn 3. Huffman now alongside, trying to get by that 23 car. This will move him closer to the top 10. That's for 11th.
Again, honors by Nelson, of course, putting their name on this race and ran very well throughout the summer here at South Boston Speedway. Didn't get a trophy with it, but nevertheless had a very fast race car. And, of course, the news this weekend for Nelson Motorsports that Landon Huffman would not be piloting that race car in 2024. They are instead going to go with the NASCAR Advanced Auto Parts Weekly Racing Series National Champion. And Connor Hall will be piloting this number 22 in 2024. And Huffman going to try to make the most of every opportunity there in that number 22 car. Meanwhile, back up front, McCaskill still trying to hold off Lane Riggs, who now has a nose down to the inside of the Purrier Tank Lines machine.
Report from the pit area from Jacqueline Drake. Some radio communications on that 62 car just prior to the comp caution. They were saving a good bit there. So now the question is this the time where the gloves come off, and how much has McCaskill been saving, the veteran driver? As we'll be coming around to 40 to go next time by. Riggs again with a lunge to the bottom.
And Riggs, so much experience here, talked about when I was speaking with him earlier today, I know what I need here. I know what I need in practice, how it's going to compare to the race. And again, he told me this was the best race car that I've ever had here at South Boston Speedway. Said the same thing at Caraway. Didn't end up taking home the trophy, but nevertheless, a very fast number 62 car that he has underneath his belt. And again, I think felt like he saved a lot during that first run, as you just mentioned. So we'll see if it's enough to get by Deke McCaskill. Bobby McCarty hasn't fallen too far back from these top three either. Meanwhile, Quapple has fallen back a couple of car lengths of your top four or so.
How about the storylines amongst the top two front runners as we check in on a battle that's going on in the bottom portion of the top 10? In fact, that's just outside the top 5 for 6 between Chase Burrow and Chad McCumbee after they've gotten together a couple of times here. But for Deke McCaskill, the return to Cars Tour competition as he gets a nudge that time from Riggs. Wanted to commit to the whole season, but due to work and family commitments, just hasn't been able to make it out to every single race. Nevertheless, he has the victory at Southern National, 3 top 10s of the season, sprinkled in with a little bit of bad luck, 2 DNFs. Lane Riggs gets the call from Kevin Harvick Incorporated to drive this car at Caraway. They go to victory lane up until post-race tech when an infraction was found, and they had a rebound. Riggs now having yet another chance in this car. He's made the most of every opportunity that's been given to him. And he's trying to do so again here tonight, getting by one of the most incredible to ever do it as we got trouble in turn 2.
One car is spun around in the center of turn 2, and I believe that is Connor Jones that is in that 44. The 77, I think, threw me off there for a second, as Blake Stallings also a part of this as well. Connor Jones, definitely a little bit of contact, it looks like, that sent that car around Stallings here in the bottom of the apron. And with 35 laps to go, we'll nullify any competition caution that we may have going forward. And Jones getting that car fired back up.
Not sure if he's a little bit displeasured here with Ronnie Bassett Jr. as Bassett is trying to get out of the way.
Oh, that was close. Now remember, Connor Jones, has been placed on probation this year for throwing his Hans device a little bit earlier on this season.
Brandon Pierce says, I'm going to get out of Dodge.
Yeah, he says enough of this.
I don't know that Ronnie Bassett Jr. wants to do just that yet either, as Jones stops on the front stretch to fall back to the tail end of the field potentially.
Well, he may not be done yet. He's getting back up to speed. Now kind of settles in.
Imagine at this point, race officials have stepped in a big way to try to talk Connor Jones out of whatever may be crossing his mind in terms of retaliation or redemption. After the incident in turn 1 and 2 over a driver we haven't talked about a lot tonight, Ronnie Bassett Jr., coming off of 3 consecutive third-place finishes on the Cars Tour. Unfortunately, after not qualifying all that well, hasn't been able to break up into the top 15 just yet. Was running 16th. Jones was 15th. So that may have been the battle for that spot. Ronnie Bassett Jr. in the 04. Was so close to going to victory lane at New River All-American Speedway in that battle for the win with Brendan Butterbean Queen late in the going. Made the move down to the inside. They made contact. Got the 04 just sideways enough to allow Butterbean to throttle up off the corner. Jones, ironically, was the driver who also got by Bassett and got second. Well, Ronnie and the 04 team had to settle for a third-place finish for the 3rd consecutive race.
And honestly, want to give credit where credit is due for Connor Jones. That late caution that comes out under 10 to go at New River All-American, he likely wins that race without that. And I was talking to Bassett about that earlier today, that he really didn't think he could chase down that 44 car, or at least it would have been close. He thought he was running him down, but may not have had enough time to quite do it. And Connor Jones, should that have stood, or if they continued going green, had a real shot to win what would have been, at the time, his second Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour race after his triumph a year ago at Tri-County, which we will be visiting next in 2 weeks' time.
hard to believe, as you said, Blake, that we've only got 2 races to go after this.
Yeah.
To wind down this season.
What a year, though. I mean, the racing that this series has produced, the amount of highlights this series has put on this year has just been remarkable. And I think we're in store for that a little bit later on tonight, to be honest with you.
And I love the idea of the fact that we're closing out the season at tracks that we're going back to for a second time. Tri-County produced some incredible racing. The first time that we went there, not that long ago, only in August. Caraway Speedway, of course, was a midweek summer event. But as you touched on when we were talking about racing here in South Boston, the weather conditions are going to be completely different.
Yep.
So it's going to be an entirely new curveball for the teams to have to adjust and work their way through. And I think it's going to be quite the scenario and quite the scene on how we wind down the year, crown our champions, and also give out the last bit of race-winning hardware that's available for 2023.
It's been a remarkable season. I'm sure these last couple of events will be no exception. As you can see, man, what an awesome shot of the fair going on there. You can see the bright lights. Everybody's over there having a good time. Everybody's over here having a good time. These fans, again, South Boston here, very loyal. They love this racetrack, and with good reason. And the folks here in South Boston, man, they do an incredible job putting on a true event here. It has been a tremendous stay here for the car store this weekend. Throughout the weekend, so much going on around the racetrack. Clean facility. I got to say, the broadcast booth up here is great. Done a tremendous job, as we can see the results of the choose cone taking place. It'll be once again Deke McCaskill who will elect to go up top. Lane Riggs in second will take the bottom. Carson Quaffle electing to go to the inside. He'll be the second car rather, that lines up there on the inside line.
And as they come to the 1-to-go signal, let's tip our cap one more time to the track management here at South Boston Speedway. It's been publicized. Of course, Kathy Rice, longtime general manager of this facility, helped get Chase Brashears up and running. He brought the track to a new level. New general manager Brandon Brown, who's helped the Cars Tour several times this season, taken over. They've already released their 2024 calendar, so their local drivers are ready to go next year. There's still a lot to be excited for about South Boston Speedway, even with the change of regime. Can't wait till we come back with the Cars Tour next year for sure.
Into the KRC Power Steering restart zone. McCaskill will lead us back to the green flag once again. Lane Riggs, though, a great launch off the bottom. We'll see if it's enough to try and make a challenge for the race lead into turn 3. They'll go down the back straightaway side by side for first and for third. But McCaskill, so good in 3 and 4. His team was telling him that earlier per the radio communication. That end of the racetrack is where he is solid, and he proves it right there as Quaffle now making a charge for third.
Quaffle underneath Bobby McCarty, who almost looked like a super speedway restart. He was pushing the 08 and McCaskill clear going into turn 1 as Quaffle corners that car. All 4 tires on the apron to try to get up to a podium spot.
It cannot get much closer between Queen and McCarty up there on the top. I mean, Queen is running up into the fuel cell almost of that number 6 car off the corner. And McCarty, I mean, if he slips up at all, there's going to be a little contact, and there is on the front straightaway. Jacob Borst around and into the inside retaining wall. Only car that gets the bad end of it, but you can see the window net down. He is okay, but very quickly the gloves are already off for Jacob Borst, and another tough evening for a South Boston weekly competitor. Third in the series standings this season in late model stock car competition, and he's not wasting any time getting out of his race car. And I think looking for somebody as well. You typically, yep.
Yeah,
Mason
the
Diaz.
is with Mason Diaz, who looks like he may also have some damage to the right front fender as he went by.
We have seen some tempers tonight, that's for sure.
As you mentioned, Blake Borst, a frequent competitor here at South Boston, making his Cars Tour debut tonight, was that of Jacob. You can see the badly wrinkled up bodywork on that car. The hope is that perhaps there's not any suspension damage on the underside of that car, especially on the back end. We're going to take a quick look at the replay here as to what happened. It's going to happen, looks as though, towards the middle portion of your screen. Diaz off the apron into the back of Borst. What a job by Ronnie Bassett to get on the binders and not make it a multi-car crash as they went by.
Very early candidate for MPI wheelman of the race right there. for Ronnie Bassett Jr. Yeah, and I think you said it just right. Diaz kind of washes up off the apron a little bit. And, I mean, there's really nothing that Jacob Borst could have done there. One more time. Yeah, you see he's chasing up the racetrack a little bit, gets a little bit loose. And honestly, what a great job Logan Clark does, Cameron Bolin, Andrew Grady. I mean, again, that's at a spot. When I was here last July, we saw about 25 cars all wadded up. This could have been so much worse. Bassett locks it up, wheels it, saves it. Grady just misses. Clark's able to not get into the fence as he goes by. So a tremendous job of driving right there to not make that more than just a one-car incident. Unfortunately, though, for Jacob Borst, it is going to put him out of the event early on.
It's hard for all drivers and competitors knowing that you're stopping on the binders, the car's doing things, and unsettling as you try to slow it down and try to back it up, if you will, and not get swept up in the crash. But for Jacob Borst, that car is going to go off on the hook and put us up the caution with 32 laps still to go. And you can see how badly damaged the right rear of that car is. So it looked like at first glance, looking at the car on the left side, that perhaps the rear end housing was pushed over a little bit. And judging by how that right rear is rolling, that is entirely possible. So far, the track crew here has been put to work a little bit, as you see some of the remnants of the donuts there, a little bit in front, a little bit behind. The number 24, Mason Diaz, has been driving his way further forward. Also has some damage there to the left rear quarter panel, and maybe a crease on the left front.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, all things considered, I think after the hard contact, it doesn't look all that bad for the number 24 Solid Rock Carriers Ford. Another South Boston competitor here in Landon Pimpleton, been around this racetrack a number of times, and haven't seen him on the racetrack in Cars Tour competition since Dominion. He's been very strong anytime we visited the Commonwealth in this series, and some work to that number 0 Sellers racing car. You get a lot of pressure, I think, on Landon Pimpleton. When you look out of the grandstands, you see the Peyton Sellers grandstands and all the success that he's had here at South Boston. There's a little bit of pressure being able to drive with Sellers' name on the door, especially here at this racetrack. And right now trying to get that car in better working shape and assess some of the damage that he has. Had a little bit on the right front fender there.
Pimpleton won the pole for this race back in 2022 and finished third after leading the most laps. So not the rebound night that I think Pimpleton and company were hoping for in their return to Cars Tour competition, but with still 32 laps to go, a lot can still happen. They come to the choose this time, and no surprise, McCaskill elects the top. It's going to be Riggs on the bottom. McCarty and Quapple will make up row number 2, while Chase Burrow and Brendan Butterbean Queen in row 3. The rest of the field will pick their respective starting positions. Should be seeing the one-to-go signal next time through with what will hopefully be a 32-lap run to finish.
See right there the rest of the field choosing. You can see Kenny Wallace back there. He'll be about 20th or so once timing and scoring refreshes after the latest incident with Jacob Borst. Also see, it doesn't appear as though Diaz was put at the tail end of the field. Again, there is a rule in the rule book that should somebody be deemed 100% at fault for the contact of an incident, they will be put at the tail end of the field. Right now, Diaz, I think, going to keep his spot around the 13th or 12th position that he held before that contact with Jacob Borst. Lights are off on the pace car. Deke McCaskill once again will lead us into the KRC Power Steering restart zone. 32 laps left to go here at South Boston, and the best of the best are at the front of the field. McCaskill, Riggs, and now Quapple looking to make it 3 wide for just a moment off of turn 2.
Quapple thought about it, but now here comes McCarty. First time we've seen him outside of the 62, perhaps all night, but he's not going to get there. More contact in the midfield. Mason Diaz getting bounced around by Cade Brown. Meanwhile, further forward, how about Landon Huffman working his way further forward? He's in that 22 car on the bottom of Chase Burrow just outside the top 5.
Well, lucky there wasn't a wreck right there. It was close between Huffman and Chase Burrow getting down into 1. Huffman just had a little bit of a nose on the entry of 1. Burrow washed up the racetrack. They hold on to it. 1 car slow off of turn 2. It's Blake Stallings, but I believe he's just getting out of the way. All good there. Meanwhile, Quapple falling back a little bit. Lost a spot to Queen. Lost a spot to Ryan Millington as well. Here comes Chase Burrow looking to try and clear the 22 of Huffman.
Burrow again having an incredible night here as a lot of drivers start to inch up towards the top of the racetrack. With the front two now, McCaskill and Riggs starting to break free. McCarty maybe holding up Butterbean a little bit there. Gets a warning shot in the middle of 1 and 2.
I'm always impressed how close these drivers can run together and not make any contact. We're seeing it right here as well. Up front, Lane Riggs down to the bottom with 27 laps to go here at South Boston. But again, McCaskill so strong here through 3 and 4. We'll see if he has the run off the corner once again, and indeed he does. So Riggs very strong in 1 and 2 compared to that of the 08. You see how much ground he's able to make up, but even a great run off the corner there for Deke McCaskill.
Boy, the ability for Lane to just throw that car down into turn number 1 as he has the last few laps. Let's see if he does it again here as McCaskill burps the back tires. Here comes Riggs again to the inside, hooking that apron, but McCaskill pulls him up off.
I think McCaskill may have scraped the wall there off of turn 2. Saw a little bit of smoke. Perhaps we'll see this time by if he has a little bit of damage on the right side. Yeah, he may have just brushed the wall. Riggs making up some more ground, inching ever closer to trying to make that pass on McCaskill.
It looks like there might contact there. Riggs and McCaskill bounce off each other. Well, it looks like there might be some rubber buildup starting to burn inside the left front wheel well of McCaskill's car.
Good observation there. We'll see if that holds up. Riggs still trying to make it work on the bottom. Think he got a little bit loose and washed up into McCaskill, but he will still hold on to the race lead. Very impressive. Again, these cars are so fast that despite the fact that they're battling this hard, they're still pulling away lap by lap from McCarty and Brendan Queen behind them.
Right now, Riggs may be a little bit faster, but McCarty is putting on a clinic in terms of defensive driving abilities here as Riggs tries the bottom side again off of turn 2.
Chase Burrow, the anchor has dropped on that car as he has lost several positions after this restart. Now under attack on the right-hand side of your screen from Trevor Ward. Again, he was running up in about the 5th spot right now and just doing his best to hang on to 8th. You can still see that situation there for Deke McCaskill. Some flames underneath that 08 car. Is he going to have enough to hold on here for 20 laps?
Yeah, whatever's burning or dragging is not getting any better for McCaskill. And it's becoming more evident on the straightaway. The hope would be that the air and the car moving would be able to put out whatever that could be. Perhaps just some rubber build up there inside of that wheel well. But at this point, it continues to smolder.
You can see where that fire is. I mean, that's right probably by his feet. He's probably being able to feel that through a little bit, but it hasn't deterred him at all. 17 laps to go. He's still your race leader, and they're still 2 of the fastest cars on the racetrack. Is your top 2 and McCaskill and Riggs. They're both in the 15.8s. The rest of the field in the 15.9s. So they are still setting a blistering pace here.
No lap traffic on the same straightaway as the leaders right now, as you see Carson Quapple, right-hand side of your frame, starting to work on Ryan Millington to get back up into the top 5.
Boy, Millington's had a great season. He only won North Wilkesboro back in May. It's a great job that he and that family-owned race team have been doing all night long. As you continue to watch right-hand side of your screen, it is 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th. All the way back to 6th between Quapple and Millington. And now you can see McCaskill has made up a little bit of ground. Last couple of laps, 08 has started to pull away from Riggs. He just ran a 15.7.
We look at how Deke McCaskill has run this race. I think a lot of us were wondering if he was just trying to control the pace or if the competition was taking it easy, hoping that Deke was going to burn up this stuff, no pun intended. Nevertheless, though, now that we're starting to approach 10 to go, Deke is starting to turn up the wick a little bit here out front.
And again, Queen so close to the back end of Bobby McCarty. If he could just get a nose to the outside, this may be what he needs to try and make his way by. But McCarty has been so strong in 1 and 2. And one of the things I've loved about tonight, Eric, is that we have cars that are markedly better at one end of the racetrack. Even from Lane Riggs, his crew saying that he's going to have to set up that pass in turns 3 and 4 if he's able to catch Deke McCaskill and do it in 1 and 2. Because of how well he's been able to work at that end of the speedway.
McCarty doing everything he can to fend off this spot as they hit the line with 10 laps to go. Butterbean Looking outside, Quapple down low on Millington, 8 and 15, while Landon Huffman lurks, just starting to poke his nose into your picture here in this 5-car fight for the final podium spot.
They're nearly 3 wide behind McCarty, but right now Queen just doesn't have the confidence to be able to go down and trust that he would be able to complete that pass on McCarty. So at this point, you just have to hope for a mistake or hope that McCarty goes a little bit low. You can get that run high and be on the outside when they get to the exit of the corner.
Quapple now kind of pinned down to that low side a little bit with his closest championship combatant, Butterbean, up alongside in the 03. Millington down to the inside in the 15. While Landon Huffman's got the whole race car down on the apron of the racetrack, trying to get it to corner, but the battle for the lead is back on.
Lane Riggs a 10th better that last lap as we'll follow this battle for the race lead. There is a little bit of lap traffic that may come into play as McCaskill wiggled off the corner. Almost some contact as the race is on for the win here at South Boston. McCaskill hanging on over Lane Riggs. They're about half a straightaway back, or maybe a little less of the lap traffic with now 5 laps to go in South Boston.
Riggs now getting a good run off the corner to try to pull up and even with the 08 car, who now gets the good drive out of turn number 2 that time. Lap traffic ahead. Riggs looking low. Now to the back bumper of McCaskill in the battle for the lead.
Riggs knows he has to get that pass done now. He has to get it done before they reach the lap traffic, because then it's just a guessing game of where they're going to go. A little bit of contact once again. Riggs down the back straightaway. Landon Pimbleton gets out of the way to let these drivers settle it amongst themselves. They'll come around to 3 to go. Still McCaskill with the top spot.
These two trying to settle this race amongst one another. McCaskill looking for his second win here at South Boston Speedway. Riggs looking for an opportunity to take KHI to victory lane. Ronald Hill and Dylan Wilson up the road. Both cars almost clipped the wall with 2 to go.
16 wins amongst these competitors in your top 2. McCaskill looking to hang on for another as Hill will get out of the way. They'll come around and they'll see the white flag. One more trip around South Boston Speedway for Deke McCaskill. He has led a majority of this race, but Lane Riggs has one more shot to do it. Down the back straightaway and into 3 and 4 for the final time. Riggs up the racetrack. Is he going to make contact? He's not going to be able to get there, and McCaskill will win. The Autos by Nelson 250 presented by Virginia is for racing lovers. And I tell you what, if you're a racing fan, you gotta love what you just saw. McCaskill wins his second race of the Cars Tour season.
Second here at South Boston as well. Debuted the new colors and paint scheme for this team and this car at the beginning of the season. And now McCaskill with a brilliant veteran effort, able to dominate essentially, especially by virtue of the box score and how many laps he was able to lead on the night. And he's going to be celebrating another win here at South Boston Speedway after Lane Riggs could have dumped him, could have shoved him up into the concrete in turn 4. Instead, he did everything possible the right way to settle for a runner-up finish. What a race all night long between those two.
We saw it in the Pro Late Model race. We saw it in the Late Model Stock Car race. Race leaders raced hard at a track where it is very hard to get that track position and to try to make up those positions. And Deke McCaskill going to slow that race car down, put the window net down, and give a nice salute to everybody here at South Boston Speedway. And again, I think we said it earlier, and it's been said many times, that we have a lot of favorite drivers here in the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour, and many of them are Deke McCaskill fans. But if you happen to be a fan of another driver and your driver doesn't win, I don't think there's any fan that's going to root against Deke McCaskill taking down yet another victory. What will be his 11th in his Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour career, was making his 95th start, the most amongst any competitor. He's been with this series for so long, the 2016 series champion. A special night for him, especially after Wake County. I mean, that was a track that he had circled on the calendar, ran so well there, was one of the many cars that had overheating issues as he was blitzing his way through the field of that night. So great redemption for him to come out to South Boston and be able to get the job done.
You look at the records that Deke is setting, as Blake just mentioned, all-time leader in starts, now tied for second all-time with 11 wins with that of Bobby McCarty. He sits second all-time with the most poles, now extends the most top fives and most top tens as McCaskill continues to pave his legacy in the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour with yet another trip to Edelbrock Victory Lane and the second of 2023. Let's hear from him. Jacqueline Drake is standing by in Victory Lane.
It was veteran versus veteran in this late model stock feature event tonight, the 08 of Deke McCaskill battling it out with Lane Riggs. This was almost back in the inception of the series, back in the day, these two veterans going side by side all the way to the end. As you can see, Lane Riggs going to make his way over here and tell Deke congratulations, leaving everything on the track. Congratulations going to be received from his team, from his family, as he brings home his 11th Cars Tour win, 95th start in this series, the most starts out of any driver in the Cars Tour series in the history. He is in the top 5 for wins, all-time winningest in the late model stock division. He'll take off that helmet and put on the SRI Victory Lane hat, only given to the winners in this series. No other person gets one of these hats. He'll put on the Hoosier neckband as well. Significance for visiting Victory Lane. Race fans, put your hands together. Let him hear it. The number 08 of Deke McCaskill. Deke, congratulations. Able to take home another win this season here in the Cars Tour, but we talked a little bit about just how many you've had in this series. This is your 11th, and you had the most starts out of any other driver. In the battle there with Lane, what was going through your mind in the final few laps?
Just driving the crap out of this car. That's all I can say, man. We were just on the free side, and I knew the top was going to be key. I can't believe Lane gave me the top at the start, and we got in clean air, and the car was just, I mean, it was actually turning too good right there in the middle of the corner, but I just had a really good drive off. R&S Race Cars, Marcus Richmond. I can't do it without this guy, man. Appreciate his friendship, him and Tracy. Steve Stallings, everybody at R&S Race Cars. I love being teaming up with these guys. David West, John West Racing Engines, what a motor. He got done with it this week, and it was just, it changed my weekend for sure. And, man, Brandon Ernest, appreciate his help. Per Year Take Lines, Graphics Unlimited, R&S Race Cars, Bobby Gregory Weldon, Graphics Unlimited. Man, I hope Blackgate Hunting. Man, hunting season's coming up. I just encourage everybody to go to blackgatehuntingproducts.com. They got some killer trail cameras. And when I win, it's 20% off DECO8 promo code. So everybody go check them guys out. We just had an up and down season, but 2 wins. You kidding me? I mean, this is unreal, man. This is a family-run team. I got a bunch of experience, and I think that helps out a lot. And we just work hard and don't give up, and come out here and compete with these teams up and down pit road. It's just it's an absolute blessing. Lane Riggs is a lot of fun to race with. Bobby McCarty, and them guys run me clean. We rubbed a little bit, but that's racing, man. And I'm gonna remember this night for a long time. To have my dad and my wife, everybody here, man. This is just. I was telling them on the radio after the race, man. I'm more happy about this right here and looking and seeing all the excitement on my kids, my wife, everybody's. I mean, this is what this is about right here. It ain't about that check. It's about what them guys are, their emotions right now, and that's why I keep doing this.
Earlier today when we spoke, you said, I'm still learning. And with 95 starts in this series, still learning every single time you hit the track. Any particular takeaways from this evening?
Yeah, I thought the track was going to tighten up a lot more with this cool weather, and I went down there and talked to Marcus, and he said, man, I don't know. Sometimes it don't, so I kind of misjudged it, but we just had the top side rolling there, and I was getting really free there at the end, but Yeah, we unloaded with a setup yesterday that was pretty close last year that we ran really well, and we were just off. And Marcus had put me in the right direction. We picked up some speed and just kind of tweaked on it from then. But yeah, I was telling you earlier, man, I'm still learning. This is just technology's changing every week, it seems like, and we just got to stay on top of these things. And I can't do it on my own. I just got a lot of help, and I'm just real appreciative for all the help I have.
Deke McCaskill taking home your late model stock feature event winner.
And as you can see, very happy in victory lane and is going to turn around. He talked a lot about his family that's around him, his crew chief, and everybody on that team that makes it worth it. And those shots right there, I think he put it in the best words possible, that it's, yes, winning is great, and it's awesome as a race car driver to have that thrill, but it's about the people that make it possible. And certainly for Deke, there is a great group around him that makes winning these races possible. And I remember hearing him talk preseason about just the fact that in the Salt Rock Carriers Cars Tour, one win, I mean, that makes your whole season. And I think he even kind of alluded to it there in victory lane. 2 wins? Like, are you kidding me? As if he already wasn't capable of it, has won so many times. But also, I think as he's seen this series evolve, these wins are so much harder to come by.
And he mentioned it right there towards the tail end of the interview. And, again, great job by Deke McCaskill. But he's your 2016 Cars Tour champion. And even though the series began back in 2015, so much has changed and evolved. And as he mentioned, technology continues to improve. And there's different tools and utilizations and race trace and all these different things. And McCaskill, every time he unloads, continues to be an odds maker's favorite, if you will, for a Cars Tour event. And he is showing no sign of slowing down. I hope we are all privileged to the opportunity to see Deke run full-time one more time, should work and family commitments allow him to in 2024, because he has got what it takes to compete for another title.
He does, and I was talking with him a little bit earlier in the season. Yeah, it was his mechanic job that kind of deterred him from running a couple of races because they just got so busy with the family business that he couldn't make his way out. And when we talk about short track racing and the real guys that can grind it out and do their own work, and these are the type of local heroes that you really love to root for in Deke McCaskill. He will celebrate in Edelbrock Victory Lane. We'll catch up with somebody that came up so close to ending up there tonight as well. Was Jacqueline Drake is standing by with Lane Riggs.
And number 62 of Lane Riggs, you had quite a night battling all the way to the end with Deke for that number 1 position. You were almost there. What more did you need, though, in that final lap?
I just needed the track position. The top was really, really good. Deke's the master here. He's been racing the top around this track before I was born, so it's a really awesome race. I think me and Deke's about the only people that could put that good of a race on, and it was an awesome race for the fans. I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. Just super big thanks to Purrier Tank Lines, Infinity Communications, KHI, Kevin Harvick, Delana, Rodney, everybody watching at home. That was, even though we didn't win the race, I still had a blast racing. So I just hope to do it again sometime. I just got to get the car a little bit better and got to have that track position.
It's always great to see you come out here and compete in the Cars Tour. You're actually headed to go do a couple of NASCAR Xfinity races. Anything, though, that you can see that you translate whenever you go Xfinity racing that you take away from your late model time?
Well, just the adrenaline and still being in a race car. It's got the same fundamentals as any other car, but this is a really gritty short track racing. This is what I grew up on, and trying to translate all my knowledge to the big track stuff. So super thankful for all the opportunities I've gotten. It's been a crazy journey, and all the stars are starting to align and getting what I deserve, and it's just awesome to be racing a good car.
Congratulations. P2 finished tonight with the number 62 of Lane Riggs.
Thanks, Jacqueline. And I got to say, seeing Lane with that smile on his face after, a hard-fought second-place finish, seeing him being able to be composed, because here's the thing. We talked about this when Landon Huffman won at Tri-County Speedway, where he got out of the car and said, I didn't hit him. I wanted to do it the right way. Well, how about the fact that Lane got out of the car, was happy for the second, but also fully aware of the fact that he did everything he could without stepping out of bounds.
Yeah.
That was a strong performance for he and that team. The shot in the arm he needed, and as Jacqueline mentioned, with us, but in the NASCAR Xfinity Series side as well, his talent is on full display as that of Lane Riggs. And another driver who pretty much stayed up in the top 3 all night long and will celebrate yet another strong finish with his team, the RNS Race Cars number 6, Bobby McCarty, standing by with Jacqueline.
Walked over here to Bobby McCarty's car, and he was already popping the top on a beer. If that does not describe your night, Bobby, Walk me through just how that number 6 performed for you.
We had a good car, man. I want to thank everybody at RNS Race Cars, the Hogan Group, Solid Rock Carriers, DreamWorks, Go to Work, Southside Disposal, Bill Steen, everybody that come on this car this weekend. We had a good car, just kept getting bound up on the bottom, and I think we was better than both these guys, but just being stuck on the bottom and grinding the right front that long, it just built tight on us, and once it went tight, I just couldn't do anything. It didn't matter where I put it. We just struggled. So I'd like to do it over again. I probably would have pushed the issue and went on and tried to get around Deke earlier, just so I could set the pace and pick where I was on the racetrack. But you live and you learn. I'm proud of these guys. They worked really hard. After the heartbreak in Martinsville, I'll take a third here. We unloaded, struggled a little bit. So the guys worked hard. We made some really good changes. We learned a lot of stuff. So we'll just keep digging. I'm
curious, had you been in second place in Lane's position, would you roughed up Deke just a little bit for that win?
I'll plead the fifth. I'll just plead the fifth. I love Deke. Deke's a good guy. I'm happy to see him win, but you never know what you do in them situations, and I keep my cards close to my chest, so I'll plead the fifth.
Top 3 All Cars Tour veterans tonight, taking home your third place, the number 6 of Bobby McCarty.
And Bobby McCarty, he was the first person, not just driver, but first person when Deke McCaskill went up in victory lane. When he parked it there, Bobby McCarty was the first one to his driver's window, and yet he still can't confirm whether or not he get a little rough for the race win. I think,
I love it.
Again, that shows you how much it means to these competitors. Really appreciate the top 3 taking the time with us. We'll give a quick field rundown before we let you go to let you know where your favorite driver finished. Of course, Deke McCaskill, your race winner tonight. Lane Riggs in second. Bobby McCarty in third. Brendan Queen was fourth. Carson Quapple rounded out your top 5. Landon Huffman made a couple of late race moves on the last lap. He ends up in sixth tonight for Autos by Nelson. Seventh was Ryan Millington. Chase Burrow in the 8 car finishes in the 8th position. Your Valley Star Credit Union 300 winner in Trevor Ward was 9th, and Chad McCumbee rounded out your top 10. Ronnie Bassett Jr. was 11th. Cade Brown was 12th. Mason Diaz finished in 13th. Josh Dickens, what a great rebound for that team after the damage they sustained. They end up with a 14th place finish tonight. Logan Clark, 15 car, was in the 15th spot with Andrew Grady, 16th. Connor Jones, 17th. Cameron Bolin, 18th. Brandon Pierce was 19th, and Jacob Hefner in the 95 was 20th. Kenny Wallace in his Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour debut finished in 21st. Dylan Wilson was 22nd. Ronald Hill was 23rd. Landon Pimbleton 24th. And the cars that were not able to see the checkered flag in this one, Blake Stallings 25th. Jacob Borst 26th. Carter Langley 27th. Stacy Purrier 28th. And 29th was Minnie Tyrell. What a race we've seen here tonight. And again, 2 more left on the docket. I cannot wait for Tri-County after the event that they put on for $30,000. Can't imagine it's going to be any worse when we get there in 2 weeks.
And, I mean, to think of the fact that it wasn't that long ago that we were there, there's something about the way in which they paved that facility, laid that facility out, and we get to go back there 2 weeks from now for the second to last race of the season, all of which leading up to the season finale at Caraway. And 2 quick takeaways, Blake, before we sign off. I'll make it 3, as a matter of fact. As far as the Keen CorvetteParts.net challenge, well, being that Carson finished 5th tonight, Caden third, that's going to give him an edge. Connor Zilish was off winning a Trans Am race this weekend. That's why we didn't get a chance to see him here.
Shocker.
But Cole Butcher was only 3 points out coming into tonight, and he finished second. So we may have a pretty tight battle for that prestigious award when we get to the finale at Caraway. Brendan Butterbean Queen gained a little bit of points by finishing 1 spot ahead of Carson. And last but not least, thank you, and thank you all for putting up with my voice as it has faded off into the sunset here, as we will do now. Blake, take us home, buddy.
Faded off into the sunset. You know, I may go up there on that Ferris wheel if it's still running here in a little bit when we get down from the broadcast booth. But nevertheless, thank you to our entire team on Flow Racing. Thanks to all of you, both here at the racetrack at South Boston Speedway. We hope you drive home safely, and everybody on Flow Racing for tuning in. We will see you back here in 2 weeks. Tri-County Speedway, going to be another incredible show for the Solid Rock Carriers Cars Tour, Pro Late Models and Late Model Stocks. But until then, we will say good night. For Eric Brennan, Jacqueline Drake down in the pits, I'm Blake McCandless saying so long tonight. We bid you farewell and congratulations to tonight's winner of the Autos by Nelson 250, Deke McCaskill.